Robots took my podcast, man.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen,
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
and usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude. Ask him to walk, but be nice. Help this gentleman to the door. Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
He may be hard to handle,
I keep talking, you're gonna go off thinking I'm a nice guy.
I know you're not a nice guy.
but he's easy to like.
What's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women?
The worst I ever had was wonderful.
He's not what you'd expect.
I thought you'd be bigger.
But there's one thing you can count on. He's the best friend a good time ever had.
You guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead. This is my town.
I'm not afraid of him.
I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right? You got your hands full, kid.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze,
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
All right, Anthony, I don't want to bring up Memphis on this podcast, okay? Went down there.
You know what, Jordan? I came onto this podcast because I heard you had some trouble. Looks like you need some help.
I need a cooler on this podcast. We've had a lot of roughhousing going on with our guests.
You know what? I agree. You could be cooler on this podcast, Jordan. I'm just kidding.
Ooh!
Just kidding. That's not very Roadhousey of me. I'm sorry.
No. That's not very Sam Elliott. What's his character's name again? Of you? Well, all right.
Let's gather round the Roadhouse. Remember that song?
All right, we're going to the Roadhouse. Gonna have a good time. Oh, why wasn't that song more prominent in this movie? Anyway.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Jordan.
And I'm Anthony.
Anthony, what movie are we talking? What film are we talking about today?
We are talking about the 1989, some would call it a masterpiece, some others would not, the movie Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze and others.
Starring Patrick Swayze and his drinking buddies.
And his drinking
No, maybe I'm wrong.
Patrick Swayze and his mullet are in this
And
movie.
his mullet and his drinking buddies.
A movie of big 80s hair for sure.
His hair is so pretty in this movie, I have to say.
Yeah.
I've never thought that about anybody else, but the Swayze in this movie.
A neon western for sure. And Jordan, the reason we're talking about Roadhouse is because you mentioned...
We don't have to say any more. You just nailed it. Neon Western, man. We can end the podcast right after this. That perfectly nails it right there. Neon Western.
And...
Moi! Bravo, Anthony!
But Jordan, the reason we're talking about Roadhouse here is because you mentioned on a prior episode that you hadn't seen Roadhouse.
It's at least all the way through I hadn't seen it. It was on cable. I'd always watched it in passing. I remember passing by when my little brother was watching it on cable when we were teenagers. And I remember just walking by on that scene when he fired the guy and he said, "Your history." And he says, "But I'm on my break." And he says, "Stay on it." And I was like, in shock. Both of us our mouths were like open, and then we laughed at the end of the scene.
That just hit too close to home for you, and you were like, "Nope, I've been fired before. I'm not going to watch this movie." But no, Jordan. I mean, I was shocked.
I never saw this. No, I finally watched it on HBO. It's very fresh to me. Yeah, funny how I didn't ever watch this movie all the way through, though. I don't know how I missed it all these years.
Yeah, but we will find out if you were missing out all these years.
I was missing out on some things, and maybe not. Maybe some other things I wasn't missing out on.
So you're coming in fresh. I saw this movie as a kid, so I
Wow.
remember as a kid, way too young to be watching this movie. It was on video or whatever it was on cable, like you said. It played continuously
It
on
was
cable
on-
for
yeah.
decades, it seems.
And yeah, Roadhouse was on 24/7, and that's how kind of I just thought it looked so pardon me, friggin' cheesy. Pardon my French.
Well, as a kid, we didn't think it was cheesy at all. It was like kids would come to school and it's like, have you seen Roadhouse? And they would talk about certain
Yeah.
scenes.
That's true. I remember kids at school talking about Roadhouse. No joke.
Yeah.
It's funny, They didn't talk about what the cartoon was on Saturday morning. No. What about Roadhouse, this R-rated sex and violence movie, cursing and all?
Little kids thought it was cool. I don't know, man. But let's see if
Glamorous to kids.
Let's see if it's glamorous. Hey, it's glamorous to me, Jordan. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, still as an adult, it's kind of glamorous.
But anyway, yeah. So we get more, Jordan, of the gospel of the Swayze. And Jordan, the Swayze be with you.
We last talked about the Swayze in our Point Break review.
Yes.
Another movie I hadn't really watched all the way through completely.
And the Swayze was doling out life advice.
And what was I missing? Yes, you're right. You could start a religion on this shit, man.
Yeah. May your mullet flow as well as the Swayze. It is definitely in the Swayze canon, along there with Ghost, I think, which comes out the next year. I mean, this is peak Swayze. This is peak Swayze, man.
1989. I mean, you could still have a drive-in double feature with this movie and Point Break. Point Break being the headliner, Roadhouse being the B movie, the next movie on the bill. But yeah.
And Jordan, so this movie is produced by Joel Silver. Now, who is Joel Silver for people who weren't alive in the 80s? Haven't watched a movie.
He was behind some little movies like Die Hard and Predator. Silver Pictures, big time. Also produced Lethal Weapon, another little movie. Lethal Weapon 2, which would come out the same year.
Yeah.
48 Hours, yeah, all the way back to Walter Hill, my God. Joel Silver also has a thing about Frank Lloyd Wright. I don't know why I brought that up.
Because it's critical to the story.
I like the Frank Lloyd Wright architecture too, although I noticed little traces of it later on in the movie too that I could bring up actually. Yeah, anyway.
And join us for our spin-off podcast, Architecture in the Movies, where Jordan tries to keep us all awake while talking about architecture in film.
Yes.
And then this movie was also directed by Rowdy Harrington. And
who the hell is Rowdy Harrington, Anthony? God damn, I didn't even look him up before the podcast. I mean, is he a wrestler? Was he a wrestler before this?
I wish. There are wrestlers in this movie, but no. Rowdy Harrington, boy, I think he won a contest. Like he sent in
direct a Patrick Swayze movie contest.
He won the Patrick Swayze fan club contest.
Where was this contest when I was a kid? God dang it, man! Enter your VHS right now.
I know.
Sorry. Anyway, so he won a contest. I'm sorry.
No, apparently he did.
I either figured he had to be a country music singer or a wrestler. One of the two by his name.
Yeah, I know. He missed his calling. I'm not sure films should be it, but what happened from what I can gather was that Silver saw a movie that he did. It was Jack's Back, like some Jack the Ripper.
Oh,
inspired
Jack's
movie.
Back. I've seen that movie with James Spader and Cynthia Gibb. It's like it was actually a clever movie. It was a clever spin. Came out a year before.
Yeah. Harrington's directorial debut.
That was a good movie. All kidding aside, I remember that being a clever movie. It was a clever spin on Jack the Ripper, though. A clever modern spin on Jack the Ripper, starring James Spader and his evil twin. Yeah,
Silver apparently saw that, liked it, and said, "Hey, I've got like this movie. With Patrick Swayze's attached. Do you want to do it?" And he eventually said yes. He had to be apparently talked into doing this movie. But Jordan, he has also had many jobs in Hollywood. Rowdy Harrington has also worked on your favorite movie, Humanoids from the Deep, as a grip, as like an electrician.
Another movie we talked about on this podcast, starring Sir Doug McClure. Doug McClure.
Doug McClure. But anyway, this is a movie of big stunts, and we have stunt coordinator Charlie Picerni. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. I also saw Gary Combs, who's like a veteran in the stunt names. I mean, we have to mention the stunt people, right? Because there's like 50 stunt people I saw in the credits on this movie, and a lot of stunts are in this movie, clearly.
This movie is a whole lot of stunting. And the fight choreographer was Benny Urquidez, if I'm saying that right, who has worked on a ton of films and himself a martial arts champion and various types of martial arts. So there's just a lot of stunting and fighting power in front of and behind the camera here.
Hell yeah. Roadhouse style.
Yeah. So exciting. Yeah, let's see. What could go wrong, Jordan? What could go wrong with that much talent there?
What could go wrong? We're still talking about this movie. This movie came out in 1989, so hey.
We'll see. So how does this movie begin, Jordan?
We see the classic 80s, early 90s UA logo. And is this Tito and Tarantula playing at the beginning of this movie?
It is.
Who later would get more fame from being the band in From Dusk Till Dawn and being in another Robert Rodriguez movie, Desperado. Right?
And that band is headed by Tito Larriva.
Yeah.
And who is Tito Larriva, Jordan? He's in a band. Does he make vodka? What does he do? Did he kill your father, Prepare to Die? Who is Tito Larriva?
Well, he also acted in the Rodriguez movie Desperado and
Yes.
also acted in From Dusk Till Dawn, right? Am I missing anything here? I'm sorry.
He also acted in a movie we just talked about. He was Ramon in True Stories and sang in that movie as well.
That's the same. OMG. That's the same Tito. Oh, my God. I feel so stupid.
All
sorry.
roads go through True Stories.
Man, 6 Degrees to True Stories with David Byrne. And
Yeah.
Wow.
And a true story is that you never trust anyone in a bolo tie, because a dude in a turquoise bolo tie walks into a bar, right?
A fight's going to break out.
Exactly. We see Kevin Tighe, who plays Frank Tilghman in this movie. He walks into this bar, and at this bar we see the great Patrick Swayze and his mullet playing Dalton. Yeah. And who is Dalton, Jordan?
Dalton's a bouncer, a cooler.
Thank you. Cooler, please. Not a bouncer.
Oh, sorry. It's like calling an executive assistant a secretary, something like that, maybe.
Exactly. Coolers make about $10 more an hour, anyway.
Yeah, that's what I got to go be, man. I'm going to go be a cooler. I think I could do it, Anthony.
I think you could, Jordan.
You know, I got enough anger
Work your
and
way
calmness and passiveness at the same time. I got a nice balance. I have a nice mullet right now too. You know, I think I could do it, Anthony.
So Roadhouse is going to be an instructional video for you, Jordan, for sure.
It's going to be, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so anyway, some shit goes down. A man propositions this lady. She's not happy about it. Starts a fight, and Dalton swings in and tries to tell him to leave, and then he gets stabbed in the process, right? Dalton does. And the dude challenges him. He's like, oh, the famous Dalton, let's fight. And then Dalton's like, hey, go outside, man. Let's take this outside. And what happens then, Jordan? What does Dalton and this rowdy bar patron do outside?
They go outside, and then Dalton walks away. He walks back inside.
He walks back inside.
He's passive, man. He doesn't need to kick ass. Not in the first reel, Anthony.
Not in the first reel.
In fact, we don't see him doing any bouncing or cooling for about the first half hour. Spoilers.
Now's the time, folks, to go get your popcorn.
That's about the most. But it's just trying to show us, though, how Wyatt Earp he is. He thinks before he acts. He doesn't use his fist. He doesn't think with his fist first. Yeah. No, Dalton's cool, man. He's cool. So he walks away. He leaves that fight outside. There's no Jack Reacher here. He doesn't punch him in the balls. No, he doesn't need to do that.
No. So then back in his office, he's sewing up his wounds like a boss himself.
Yeah, man. He must have got the Time Life series on medical books stitching or something. I don't know.
He's had a lot of practice, it turns out.
Yeah.
So Tilghman has this club, and he says called the Double Deuce that he bought
outside. Double Deuce, yeah.
Outside Kansas City.
What a name. I love the name.
And he needs somebody to clean this place up, but he wants the best. And Dalton says, Wade Garrett is the best. But Tilghman says, no, I want you, man.
No, man, we can't meet him until later on in the movie, man. So I need you right now in this part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's what he says to him.
He says, I've read the script.
Yeah.
I need you. So he says $5,000 up front, $500 a night, Jordan. That's $12,300 in today's
It's a lot of money back then, especially, and even now.
To go to Missouri? I'd say so.
Boy, you got to be paid a lot of money to go to Missouri for there. To work in a roadhouse in Missouri.
I've gone to Missouri for business, yes. Anyway, then we get the good old Snake Plissken. I thought you'd be blank. In this movie, what does everyone say to Dalton?
I thought you'd be bigger. What is it with this line? Jeez, man. And yeah, what is it? Was the screenwriter like, I gotta have my Escape from New York moment? Hey, I love it. We love Escape from New York, right? But
yeah.
But I'm not gonna steal from it in that kind of way. Come on, that's just, I don't know. It's too obvious.
Patrick Swayze's not exactly a shrimp. I mean, he's not like
no
a huge dude, but he's not
my
like
God.
a little guy.
I'm a little guy. Patrick Swayze was a big guy. May he rest in peace now. But yeah, he was a big guy when he was alive. And he was, I don't think he was a little guy even. I think he was over 6 feet.
Yeah.
And buff on top of that. Dancer's buff body.
Yeah.
You know, geez. I mean.
But anyway, so the guy's got the money and, he's like, all right, I'm coming. And so he hops in his Mercedes and Misty, our friend who likes cars in movies, that's a 1986 Mercedes-Benz 560 SEC.
And it was in the shop right after this scene.
Yeah, exactly. It got a flat tire and it cost him $170.
They had to have that tire shipped all the way from Europe.
But anyway, that's a cool car. Bouncing pays the bills, man, apparently. But I've dubbed that the Merswayze. What do you think about that, Jordan?
I like that.
That's my dad joke of the podcast.
The Merswayze. He's driving the Merswayze to his new job in Missouri. Driving the Merswayze.
So anyway, he rolls up eventually to the Double Deuce, and he walks in. And what is the Double Deuce like, Jordan?
Well, I mean, on the outside, it looks like a big friggin' barn,
Yeah.
of a place.
There's
it looks
animals
like
inside. I can say that.
Yeah. When he walks in, there's like guys on bikes out there that are all trying to make fun of him until he stares them down, Swayze style, as he lights a cigarette or he puts a cigarette out and flicks it out as he's putting his jacket on and hikes the collar up. And yeah, and inside the Double Deuce though, yeah, it's a zoo essentially of rednecks.
Yeah.
And even one guy has his shirt off dancing around with an open container of whiskey right there, man. So clearly there is no, in Texas they have TABC to enforce the laws, but even with roadhouses in Texas, sometimes things get lax. But boy, this just shows you how lax already. And then there are fights breaking out all over the damn place, all over the bar, next to the pool table, man. And the bouncers that are there, just the cooler, coolers. For lighter with more bouncers, yeah.
No, these are bouncers, not coolers.
They just ignore it. They're like, oh, they're brothers. No big deal. Leave it be. And yeah, there's just shit happening all over the place. And of course, Swayze just observes at first. He doesn't interact.
Yeah. He hasn't been paid yet.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I went back and forth in my mind of whether that was a good thing or a bad thing that he jumped in right away or not. I'm just like, all this chaos did happen within a few minutes of him walking in, though.
Yeah.
A lot of shit happened.
Well, I think he's just scoping the scene. I mean, that's sort of his MO here. He's not a rash dude.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy who studies and contemplates and he's not just going to come in and become a part of the ruckus.
He's more passive.
Yeah. He's more zen. He's Swayze, man. He's Swayze.
Swayze.
And there's, like you said, there's drugs, there's prostitution, there's brawling, and women your mama warned you about, Jordan. This is not the kind of place you take a first date.
Those women that want to take me in the bathroom and sell me drugs, those kind of women, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, and the band on stage, the Jeff Healey band, who will become an integral character as we meet. But there's chicken wire covering as he's playing. Just like, it looks like a scene out of Blues Brothers all of a sudden. Just beer bottles just hitting chicken wire, smashing against the chicken wire. Only Patrick Swayze is here now. Maybe things will change.
Maybe they will. I don't know. Jordan, so you've worked at a bunch of bars. Have you ever worked in a place like this?
Not this bad, but yeah, occasionally it would get out of hand. And we had a big guy more on the busier nights, you know, a big giant guy that could settle things. He was our Patrick Swayze.
Do you have a mullet?
No, man. I'm more like a fro. But
Okay.
man, he was a tough dude, man. I mean, he was like a Terminator. He was like almost 7 feet, it seemed. Of
wow.
Just, yeah, massive tree. And just, you know, I remember one time a jock kid antagonizing him and yelling at him just for no reason. And he yanked him up out of the chair, just threw him outside.
Wow.
I did see one time a patron knock somebody cold at this same bar later on, and he literally knocked him down cold on the pavement and blood was there. It was weird. You know, when people get rough, you do have to take a passive approach at first. You can't just react right away.
Yeah.
You can't call the cops right away either, because the cops, you'll get known on the radar with the cops after a while.
Oh.
If you call the cops constantly every time you're in trouble. So that's why you avoid it. That's why you have somebody handle things to avoid calling the cops. But you also don't want to throw punches for legal reasons. You know.
Good advice, kids. Are you paying attention here?
But sometimes you can just use your voice and intimidate people to get out. I've done that before, where I had to be my own bouncer in a rough place, where you just go, "Get the fuck out now, motherfucker!" And you're a little guy yelling at this big guy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, back to the movie here, I would say that this...
Anyway, back to the movie. Roadhouse, 1989.
Yeah. I would say this Roadhouse needs cleaning up, Jordan. Would you agree?
Yeah, it needs some sweeping, some tidying.
And so the band you mentioned is...
Jeff Healey.
Yeah, Jeff Healey, a real-life singer in a real-life Canadian blues band.
Yeah, very talented.
Yeah.
I'm loving the covers in this movie that they do. I like the way he plays guitar, the way it's like a harpsichord almost. You know,
oh, yeah, he's this weird...
That's so cool.
Lap guitar style. And I mean, I think it's
they
great.
Rock. I mean, yeah.
Not that it matters, but he's blind to boot. So I think he's, extremely talented, and he's acting in this movie as Cody.
Amazing. I wish they'd had him just cast as Dalton. That'd been great.
Hey, that'd be a cool movie.
I would want to watch this movie, Jeff Healey as Dalton. Whooping ass. Even blind, leave him blind. I don't care.
Yeah, so a brawl breaks out, like you said. Dalton's not doing anything, and the head bouncer, Morgan, played by Terry Funk, is unimpressed by all this, right? So Dalton talks to the owner, sorts it out, and he just leaves, and he buys an old beat-up car, right? And parks it.
Yeah.
Parks it in.
This is how Dalton handles things.
He's one step. He tries to be one step ahead of everyone. So he buys this old '65 Buick Riviera beater, and then he rents a spacious loft space in a barn. Right? He literally lives in a barn.
He rents it from this old man,
mm-hmm.
and he lives across the lake from a rich dude, basically.
Yeah, Jackie Treehorn. Brad Wesley,
played by Ben Gazzara.
Yeah, and who is Ben Gazzara, Jordan?
Oh, Ben Gazzara. I mean, what's that movie you told me to watch with him? Directed by Peter Bogdanovich.
Saint Jack.
Saint Jack, man, he was in that movie. He acted in a lot of John Cassavetes movies, but Saint Jack is a great Ben Gazzara movie you recommended me that really is freaking great. And yeah, great actor, older. Even by this point, he was kind of a veteran actor at this point when he's doing this movie.
List goes on. Yeah, list goes on.
Yeah, just list goes on. But yeah, notably
Big
for doing
Lebowski.
John Cassavetes there. Yeah. Oh, even Big Lebowski. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the Coens love him too. I mean, what's there not to love with Ben Gazzara?
Oh, he's
I love that he's playing the villain in this movie. I love it. Honestly, I think it just adds to it.
Yeah, he played a lot of villains, but I think he's good at playing a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it adds to the Saturday night drive-in quality of this movie already.
Yeah.
Why not? You got to have Ben Gazzara.
Yeah, and he's the local rich douchebag neighbor guy who's like runs the town, who just like loves to swerve all over the road, fly his helicopter around. He's just a giant asshole is who he is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Then back at the bar, Dalton's in charge now, and Tilghman just tells him, hey, you've got free range. This place is yours. Do whatever you want. Clean it up, man. And so what is the first thing that Dalton does?
Well, he comes in like well, this is before we had the reality show Bar Rescue, but it might look like a scene from Bar Rescue to younger viewers. You know, only he's a bigger asshole. But yeah, he comes in, he's like, fires 2 people on the staff, and he tells them how to handle rough patrons. He says, first, it's my way or the highway. Well, that's why he lays down the rules with the other staff. He says it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he fires the head bouncer, right, and the drug dealing waitress, and then he gives the staff...
That's right, the drug dealing waitress, exactly. One of them is drug dealing waitress.
Yeah, and then he gives them a motivational speech because, like, the staff is just like, well, what do we do? All these, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, this speech. Now, yeah, I love this speech. I think I'm gonna start living my life by the gospel according to Dalton, you know?
The gospel of the Swayze. And we get, and just...
yeah, be nice, you know? Somebody's an asshole to you?
Just like Bodhi.
Just be nice. Yeah, exactly, right? Just like Bodhi.
We get, like, Bodhi wisdom here.
Just like how Bodhi taught us that, you know, fear will make you hesitate, cause you to hesitate, and hesitate will cause your worst fear to happen. Dalton is telling us, hey, you know, somebody calls you a cocksucker, be nice. Be nice. It's just a noun. Well, I don't know if is it a noun? It's more of a verb, right?
Yeah, it's a compound noun. I don't know.
He calls it a noun. I think it's more
a noun and a verb.
Anyway,
an adjective.
Yeah, you know, it's just 2 words to elicit a response. I mean, really, that's the truth.
Consider the source, Jordan. There's 3 rules to road housing, to cooling.
He also teaches us how to be a good friend. 3 things you can do to be a good friend are share, be kind, and help. Oh, I'm sorry. That was my daughter's schoolwork. Got mixed in my notes here. Sorry. But yeah, the gospel according to Dalton, man.
Yeah, the 3 rules to road housing are 1, never underestimate your opponent and expect the unexpected. That's really 2 rules.
Yeah.
Number 2, take it outside, just like he did in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know? And number 3, be nice. Don't take it personal. Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Hey, Anthony, though, what if they call your mother a slut, though?
What? Huh? Son of a bitch. I mean, wait. Be nice. All right.
But what if they call your mother a slut, though, Anthony?
Well, is she, Jordan?
Hey.
Then we got to take this outside, Jordan. Let's take this outside. You see how I cooled that down?
Wait. No. Be nice. Be nice. Hey, I'm good. Doesn't bother me none.
Let's take it outside.
No. Take it outside. Take it outside. And then walk away.
Walk away. And then the next day, Dalton is shutting down the rowdies in the bar. And then he fires, like, the head bartender, right? Who's been skimming off the top. And he's still cleaning house here, right?
Played by John Doe, right?
John Doe, who was...
from the singer from Exazine, and then he just went into an acting career. Everybody loved his look. Like, he was in Great Balls of Fire and... among another movie. I mean, even Sweet Dreams, another biopic about Patsy Cline. I mean, just a few among many roles he was in.
Yeah, punk rocker turned movie star. And so he fires him. And
not a good idea, though.
Yeah. And Tilghman is just being intimidated by his staff. He is just such a wuss, man. I mean, he can fire people and kick people out. I don't get why. I mean, I understand why he needs a bouncer, but he just seems a little weak.
Yeah. As an owner, as a bar owner.
Yeah. He has no authority at all. It's kind of funny.
No spine.
And so anyway, then we find out why Dalton's driving a beater car and not the Swayze. What happens after he gets off of work?
Oh, yeah. Somebody smashed his car. He's already getting death threats. Basically, somebody smashed the window already.
His car's getting jacked up and the tires are flattened. It's pretty funny. And then, so we see that Jackie Treehorn is having these pool parties with all the douchebags in town, and he's got a blonde 80s babe from the bar who's been eyeing Dalton. His girlfriend there is Julie Michaels, who plays Denise, his too hot for this small town girlfriend. Who is Julie Michaels, Jordan? Where have we seen her before?
Now, I'm sorry, she did look familiar, but I didn't do an IMDb on her. Why does she look familiar, Anthony?
She looks familiar because she was the shower girl whose boobs we see in Point Break. Remember that chick taking the shower in the raid?
Whoa. Wow. Did the Swayze get her that job later on? No.
I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, we need a We need a body double. You want a job?
I know that you're cool with showing your boobs, so we got to roll in this movie.
Nobody put your boobies in the corner. Nobody.
But if you wanted to put your boobies in the corner, there's another movie coming up.
Just saying, it does pay $50,000.
And anyway, there's a waitress, Carrie Ann, played by Kathleen Will Hoyt, I think, who's also a singer. A lot of singers, a lot of musicians and music talent, acting talent in this movie, strangely enough.
That's why I wonder if these were all like Swayze's drinking buddies or something. Or,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he seemed like he had some heat at this point after Dirty Dancing. Like he probably could move mountains at this point if he wanted to do a project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, speaking of mountains, I noticed in almost every scene there are these big desert mountains in the background, and this is supposed to be like outside Kansas City. It's supposed to be Missouri somewhere, right?
Jasper, yeah, the fictional town of Jasper. Or
well, there is a Jasper, Missouri, but it's not by Kansas City.
That's what I thought. It doesn't look like. Yeah, it seemed like it was just a fictional version of whatever, even wherever it was from. It was
Parts of Missouri look very much like Southern California. Anyway. So the waitress comes over and she tells him like, hey, you shouldn't have fired Pat, the bartender that you fired. And then we get a very gratuitous butt shot, right? of Patrick Swayze. Swayze's butt.
When she comes over. Yeah, she comes over to his pad, like where he's staying. And he's putting on his Levi's, like he's getting out of bed, man. She's walking in right as he's got, waking up in the morning, and things happen to guys when they wake up in the morning. I don't want to talk about it here, but I'm not going to get that graphic here. But yeah, and he's got he's bulging. His muscles are bulging at the same time.
Yeah. And she tells him that he's a dead man.
Yeah. My wife walked in like right when I was watching that scene, and she said, "Wow, how inappropriate that she said that." I was like, "Damn, honey." Too soon.
Yeah. He should take her to HR. That's not very nice. But she did bring him breakfast. That's cool. Here's some breakfast. You're a dead man. Okay.
But she brought him coffee just to remind, how nice of her to bring him coffee and tell him he's going to be that was a bad move. Bad call, Ripley, and you're going to be a dead man soon.
Yeah, true. So then Wesley, Jackie Treehorn, almost runs Dalton off the road because he's an asshole. And then Dalton goes to the town auto parts store where all good big boss introductions happen. And he, has some time with the owner, this guy, Red.
Yeah, Red. Yeah.
Who was? Do you know who Red was?
Red, man, that was what kicked me, man. I was like, why do I recognize him? Is that Red West, one of those dudes from Elvis Presley's Kingsmen?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then after the movie, his character's name is Red Webster in this movie, which I'm like, that tipped me off already. And then, in the credits, there it is. He's Red West. I read that book, All the King's Men.
Yeah.
To my wife when she was pregnant, actually. So I knew I was familiar with that. So I just figured that's why I wonder if these are all Patrick Swayze's drinking buddies or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was a buddy of Elvis, and just in a ton of parts of movies. He's pretty good.
He was tight with Elvis till the end, even, man. I mean, he was on an Unsolved Mysteries about Elvis where they were talking about him overdosing. Whether he overdosed or not, whether he actually intended to overdose. Anyway, another story. Anyway, Red West.
Yeah. So he runs the town auto parts store, and then Wesley comes in, and we get the impression that he is a bad dude, and the movie's plot is trying real hard to push him and Dalton together, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we got to have them fight.
Yeah, they've got to fight at some point. And so Red isn't too happy to see him. He's not buying auto parts, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And then we get more just Patrick Swayze money shots of his shirtless body in this gratuitous Tai Chi scene. So he's a man who knows Tai Chi.
Boy, is he just an Adonis.
Yeah.
Boy, he's just built, isn't he, Anthony? I'm just going to say,
Settle down,
Even
Jordan.
I was kind of in admiration. I mean, I was just like, wow, look at the Swayze. Look at the Swayze, man. He's so graceful the way he's doing that Tai Chi. Look at the way he moves. Look at those biceps, man. Those biceps they've got dents in them, man. Serious muscular dents. I mean, it's like he's chiseled by Greek gods from Mount Olympus.
All right, Jordan, settle down. It's cool.
I'm sorry.
Cool. Right. We got a podcast going on here, Jordan. So anyway, Emmett, the farmer that he's renting the barn from, and Jackie Treehorn are both like watching him shirtless do this Tai Chi. And I think I'm just sitting there like both these men are just questioning their sexuality at this moment.
I think they were like liking it too, what they saw. They were in admiration, just like I was talking about it just now.
It's a very prolonged scene.
You look at Ben Gazzara, the way he's grinning. He's like, I don't dig men, but I'm liking this.
I'll sit and watch this a while. Then back at the bar.
Oh, back at the bar. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, back at the roadhouse.
The roadhouse, as Peter Griffin says.
And then, so back in Tilghman's office, some tough dudes are there trying to explain to him how it was a mistake for him to let Dalton fire Pat.
Yeah, nepotism is just nepotism power here going on in this scene. With I'm the boy. You shouldn't have fired.
Yeah. Brad Wesley supplies the bar with liquor, and Pat is his nephew.
Now, I thought, can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Interrupt away, Jordan. This isn't a podcast or anything. Go ahead.
I'm working on not cutting you off here. You can leave.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But yeah, now having worked in a bar, I think that's funny because every bar has like one liquor supplier generally for the liquor.
Yeah. In
my experience. Like we dealt with Benny Keith back in Texas when I was a bartender.
Not a plug.
So this sounds funny to me. Like Benny Keith was some crime lord here in this movie that supplied them the liquor. So I just had a hard time picturing it. Like, oh, the liquor supplier is that much of a dick locally? Even this guy even deals with the liquor at every bar locally? What? Damn, talk about power. Talk about a far reach is all I'm saying. Just from my experience in reality here is all I'm saying.
It's like, look, you shouldn't have fired little Kenny Keith here. I think you need to give him a job again. No, well, bygones be bygones. You know what I mean? If you want to keep your liquor happening here.
Yeah, Anthony's right. We dealt with Benny Keith for the longest time. We don't use any other liquor supplier. You just fired Ken E. Keith, his son, and that's not going to be good for us. It's going to be bad. We're not going to get our shipment tomorrow at 8 a.m. like we normally do. And we do need that extra bottle of Tawaka right away for that Friday night happy hour special we got going on.
Be a shame if this Applebee's didn't have any liquor for Friday night. You know what I mean? Be a shame if that happened. Anyway.
We're going to have a lot of disappointed ladies who aren't getting the Tawaka bombs.
Anyway, so
bad call, Ripley.
So of course, Dalton comes in to intervene. Then Pat pulls a freaking Bowie knife on him. That's not a knife, like this fucking sword.
Oh shit! Jesus Christ, man! What is with this guy and the knife, man?
I know.
Anyway, Crocodile Dundee over here.
A lot of knife fights. So what happens then?
Crocodile John Doe over here. A fight ensues in the office here, and then finally Dalton shows up, and Dalton whoops some ass.
So yeah, you're right. Dalton comes in. He's restoring order in the office, and let me tell you how badass
he manages to whoop everybody's ass. Luckily, and throw everybody to the bouncers there.
Yeah, throws everyone out the window. But he's so badass, Jordan, that like he is so tough that your nose is already bloody before he even punches you. Did you notice that? You bleed before he hits you.
Gaff.
Yeah, it was an editing thing. It's like whenever he punches John Doe the first time, like his head whips back and there's already blood there. It's hard to say, or it was bloody before he even swung at him.
I can guess how that went down. I'm sorry. I love to pick out. I can technically deduce how things went down in that. That's probably because it was take 3 and they're like, "Fuck it, man. We need time to wipe the blood off." Fuck it. We'll cut away real quick.
Patrick Swayze's like, my mullet's like starting to lose its body here. Can we hurry this up, guys?
My hair and makeup people keep having to run out here and fix me up, especially my hair, and tease it back up.
Yeah. So he gets cut. Dalton gets cut by the Bowie knife, and he goes to the hospital where he meets the town's somehow hot doctor and love interest, Elizabeth Clay, played by Kelly Lynch. And who's Kelly Lynch, Jordan?
Well, I remember her from first seeing her in the movie Cocktail from 1988, where she was Brian Brown's girlfriend who was hitting on Tom Cruise in this scene. Mm-hmm. And I was like a kid when I saw that movie, and I was in love with her after that. I'm sorry. What else has Kelly Lynch done? Yes.
Oh, ton of stuff. Drugstore Cowboy. Basic
Drugstore
Instinct.
Cowboy. Thank you.
List goes on.
I forgot. Thank you. Drugstore Cowboy.
Live TV. Yeah.
She's got that great line that she tells Matt Dillon, you never fuck me, and I always have to be the driver.
So she plays the town's doctor. He's getting stitched up, and he doesn't want any anesthetic because he's just too cool. But he informs us what, Jordan? Why doesn't Dalton use anesthetic?
Oh, I forgot what he says here. What does he say? He
says pain don't hurt, Jordan. Gospel
that's
of
right.
Swayze.
Pain don't hurt.
Gospel
Same reason
of
he don't like to fly. It's dangerous.
Exactly. And so we find out that Dalton has a PhD from NYU in philosophy. What? Is this believable? Are we really trying to pass this off?
Yeah, that I found interesting. I did remember that. PhD in philosophy and shit, I mean, read a little bit of Nietzsche maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a seeker. And somehow being a bouncer is his path to find the meaning of life. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Is that?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. No, being a cooler, as you said.
Yeah.
Being a cooler pays better.
Swayze, forgive me. And he is also every lady's dream, right? He's handsome. He's smart. Yeah. And he's covered in bullet and knife wounds that he's self-stitched together.
And can I point out one other thing? She also admires the fact that he knows how to stitch his own wounds really well. She's like, nice handiwork.
Yeah. Little icebreaker. Yeah. And then they have
his own papers. She said she brings that up too, that do you always carry your medical papers around? And he's like, it's a lot faster that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So he carries his insurance with him everywhere. And then, so they have immediate chemistry, because this movie needs that to happen. And then she tells him the movie's running joke, which is Jordan.
Oh, that joke. Yes. She brings that up again. I've heard about you, Dalton. She says, I thought you'd be bigger. And he says, I've never heard that before. Yeah. I got to cough and laugh here. Anyway.
But that's something you never want to hear from either a lady or a doctor, for that matter.
Yeah.
So then he invites her to the Double Deuce. Yeah, that's great. This classy dame. Why don't you come to this sleazy roadhouse I work at? Good one.
What was he thinking with that? I mean, I'm going to invite you to where I work. Let me invite you to the dive bar I work at for a cup of coffee. We got some great beans there.
There's some popcorn on the floor you can eat.
We saw the coffee. It was leaded or unleaded. Those were the choices. There's no latte there. There's no espresso machine at the Double Deuce. Clearly,
there is no Starbucks kiosk at the Double Deuce. No.
What the hell? Yeah, you're right. What is he thinking? Unless he's inviting her for an Irish coffee.
So Wesley's a big asshole, and he's beating up his henchman for failure. Trying to get Pat his job back at the Double Deuce. So he's a bad dude. So he's an asshole still.
Yeah. Wesley was just beating up his henchman. He was just beating that one up because he said his problem was that he's bled too much. So that was his problem. He bled too much.
He's got hemophilia. He's got a medical disorder, Jordan. That's not good. HR is going to hear about this.
Yeah, what did he have a training video on what would happen if these guys fucked up?
Yeah. Welcome to the Brad Wesley Crime Organization.
Yeah. So glad you decided to join us. Now here's the training video 101 of things you shouldn't do and do it for Mr. Wesley. Always compliment Mr. Wesley. Always do what he asks. Always fight the men he wants you to fight. Always teach those men a lesson he wants you to teach them a lesson to. Don't be a bleeder. Yeah.
Don't bleed. Say you're sorry. Anyway, so he's a big asshole.
Yeah.
But then Dalton slowly puts it together that, wait, maybe this Brad Wesley is more than just like a local businessman. He's actually shaking down every business in town. So he's like the town gangster here, running the whole town.
He's maybe a bit shady. Maybe. He's controlling everything, mafia style. Yeah. So maybe he's a bit shady. The feds, the FBI haven't even investigated this town.
Because he owns the FBI. He owns everybody. The cops.
But of course.
So then we cut to another bar, and then Wade Garrett. We meet Wade Garrett. Now, who plays Wade Garrett, Jordan?
Sam Elliott. And we meet him as, well, is this a strip club he's working at, Anthony?
I don't know. Is every bar in the 80s a strip club is probably a better question. I know it's a no t-shirt contest.
You're right. It does. Now, I have to step back. It does seem like that. Every bar in an 80s movie is a strip club. Jesus, man. God, that's what we grew up with. No wonder I wanted to hit a strip club as soon as I was 21. It's because of my movie upbringing.
All the 80s movies had, like, especially like To Live and Die in LA, that whole movie's a strip club, pretty much.
Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, even.
Mm-hmm. Howard
Just
the Duck.
every action movie you can think of, like this one. Even Tango and Cash, man.
Oh, God.
Dude, I mean, you and I had a movie strip club upbringing. You realize that? We were raised in movie strip clubs. How weird. What a realization.
It was the Benny Keith and the booze industry subliminalized the message in movies to get people out to the bar. It's big alcohol, Jordan. I've been saying this for years. Anyway.
But we see we see a woman who's topless on stage and a guy about to run up and grab her, and Sam Elliott's Wade yanking her up. We get to see what Sam Elliott's like in action. He's already got that beautiful long gray salt and pepper hair going on, greasy.
He's got that greasy. You know? He's a greasy silver fox.
Greasy silver fox, yeah. And he says, "Take it easy, Rambo. I know you want to save the world from the commies, but you have to do it from down here, man."
To this military guy, this coolest Sam Elliott. Is this Sam Elliott at his coolest in the movie, Jordan?
Maybe not, but still cool.
Okay.
Still Sam Elliott cool.
Still Sam.
Yeah,
Elliott.
he is cool. I'm just kidding. No, he's as cool. No, of course he's always cool, man. Shit. Sam Elliott is the epitome of cool.
Yeah, and we'll see. Then back at the Double Deuce, some of Wesley's men come in to start some trouble, and Dalton's like, "Yeah, you can't come in here," and they're like, "Oh, we just want to have a good time." And what does he say, Jordan?
Oh, well, because he notices one of their boots has a knife on the end of it.
Knife in it,
the other bouncer. And he says, "You're not allowed in." Yeah, you're not allowed in here. He says, "But yeah, there's people here." And I forgot what he says.
He says, "You're too stupid to have a good time." And I love it.
That's right.
So quotable. So then they get in this big fight because it's been 5 minutes, Jordan. We haven't had a fight in this movie.
Yeah.
We got a fight.
This movie can't go that long without a fight. No, not at all. Movie, can you just sit down and just behave yourself for a little bit? Just drink a beer. Just calm down. Smoke a cigarette in the corner.
Yeah. The movie, take a knee, movie. And let me talk to the movie here for a minute. Movie, I know you're a movie about fighting, but I mean, you need to settle down. Okay?
Yeah.
What are you trying to prove here, movie?
Yeah. Movie, you and I have already been kicked out of 3 bars at this point. You need to calm down.
Anyway, that reminds me of your bachelor party. I don't know if I should tell that story on the podcast, but anyway.
Sure, go ahead. I don't care.
No. Let's just say that Jordan's bachelor party was very much like Roadhouse.
I thought it was more like The Hangover from what I heard about later on.
Yeah, the next day it was The Hangover.
Maybe The Hangover Part 2. I don't know which one.
There may have not have been fights. Guys with knives in their boots. Girls dancing topless. Who knows? It was Patrick Swayze doing Tai Chi.
But it wasn't even that good. It was like a bad knockoff video version of those movies even.
It was
with cheaper actors.
It was a direct-to-video version for sure, but it was a lot of fun anyway.
Oh, God. I can't even remember any of that. All I know is, that apparently things got out of hand. My body became a stunt double and punching bag, apparently, thrown all over the place. I was a stunt man, apparently, that night. Didn't know it.
So anyway, Dalton and the Doc go on a date, and then Dalton says, "You don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me. I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel." And,
yeah. And so, are you talking about when they're at this coffee, this actual coffee shop? And there's that homeless guy who's falling over drunk constantly that he pushes over as he's describing how he needs to keep everything in balance in his universe.
Yeah.
Of the bar, the Double Deuce, whatever.
Exactly. But the Doc is clearly attracted to bad boys because he's just saying like, look, I've got this lifestyle and this is what I do. You know?
Oh, that's right. Because she did just visit him at the Double Deuce and saw like where he works and what he's got to do, and she's telling him right now at this moment, like, there's just nobody like. She's clearly in love. I mean, there's nobody like you. You're just a badass. She didn't say all that, but you know, she's glowing clearly.
I mean, it is Patrick Swayze. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard not to glow.
But she's the town doctor. But I mean, come on now, this dude's. Hey, look here, Doc. It's Elizabeth on the real. It is. I know it's hard to find men. Relationship advice to people in movies. Elizabeth, it's hard to find men, and I know you're in a small town, but come on. This dude, the first time you met him was at the hospital with a knife wound. Think about it, girl. Think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. We know you love the bad boy, obviously. I guess everybody loves the bad boy. But come on, Liz. You were just sewing up his knife wound, and you notice how well he sews up his own wounds. I mean, somebody that sews up their own wounds is used to it. There's questions there. There's red flags there. But you do, as they're leaving, you see the guy who is at this coffee shop doesn't like this homeless guy and says, you ought to be paying rent. And Dalton, he gives the guy like some money and says, here's his rent.
Yeah.
And you, by the way, this is known in screenwriting 101 as petting the dog. You're seeing
the dog.
Our hero be the nice guy. So we see how good this Dalton is, because look at that. He's paying for that guy's coffee, and he's tipping the guy behind the counter at the same time. He's making everybody happy.
Yeah.
You know, he's making a difference, that Dalton. And you know, he's got a charity thing tomorrow that he's doing where he's cooking for a bunch of homeless people.
Yeah.
He's cooking gumbo, Salvation Army Center. Dalton will be there. Dalton Soup Kitchen.
Boy, he is just a mensch. He is just a sweet guy. And of course, she wants to jump him there, but she doesn't, to her credit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so then Wesley's men get Dalton to talk, and they bring him to Wesley's mansion. And we see Denise with bruises and cuts on her face because she had talked to Dalton earlier, and presumably Jackie Treehorn here, Wesley, had just beaten the shit out of her. And it's like, wow.
And she's still doing her morning aerobics at the same time.
I mean, she's committed. Girl's committed to her body, you know.
Her music by the Jets, or whatever soundtrack whatever music that was, or, you know.
She's getting physical. It's the 80s, bro.
Physical. Yeah.
And basically, Wesley gives this big speech. And he's like, you know, I came to this town. I was from Chicago. I came to this town and I built this up. There was nothing here. I brought the mall here and the 7-Eleven here. And now J.C. Penney's coming to town. And this reminded me, speaking of true stories, Jordan, it sounds like that Spalding Gray dinner scene. You know, he's just like, and malls and progress and roadhouses, the future, commerce and people and technology together, and fights.
Yeah. Wesley was about to bring a Starbucks there. It was about to open in 1990, right there in Jasper. Talk about expansion. Yeah. I mean, he was the one that brought the mall here, clearly.
It's true. I mean, created some jobs. I don't know. He's a great guy. He's a pillar of the community. But anyway, so Wesley says, I know about you, Dalton. You killed a man in Memphis. And he gives him this whole join me cliched villain speech. It's short, but he's like, hey, join me. I could use a guy like you.
Yeah, he says, you know, you and I know what happened that day. We know you killed him in cold blood.
And really starts messing with him. We find out that's his like pain point. That's his psychological burden. And probably if we cared to think about this as a real movie for a minute, the psychology of Dalton probably rests in that one thing he's trying to run from.
He knew about Memphis, yeah.
Maybe that's why he doesn't fight, Jordan. Maybe that's why he, you know, be nice. Maybe that's where that came from. He wasn't nice in Memphis, right?
He brought it up in person, even though Dalton had already written about it on Facebook. Brad Wesley brought it up in person. Dude, that was a bigger deal.
Cool, bro.
He did a whole long thread on Facebook, though, like a week before that, where he said, I did kill somebody in Memphis, yes, but it was accident. It was a self-defense. I know that everybody's talking about me in Jasper. So I'm addressing it here on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Twitter.
And Instagram.
Here's the guy I killed. Here's a photo. Sorry to his family.
So rude for Wesley to bring that up. It's like everyone should be over this by now.
Yeah. How dare he bring it up in person?
It's been 2 days. Come on. Anyway,
Dalton just talked about it with his counselor.
So anyway, Jordan, the Roadhouse is now cleaned up, right? And now there's no more chicken wire in front of the stage, and it's been painted in obnoxious pink 80s colors, and there's neon everywhere. It's a respectable place.
It's got an internet jukebox.
Yeah, exactly. A respectable place where good-looking 80s extras like to sit around and look like they're having fun.
Yeah,
drinking.
You can even bring your family in now. Honestly, They got chicken wings on the menu that are great, with some great dipping sauces even. So it's all cleaned up.
Yeah. But Wesley has shut off the liquor supply. So
yeah,
the bar's doing great, but without liquor, it can't run.
Yeah.
Then Doc shows up and it's like, oh, this place is clean now. I guess we can get it on. And so Dalton takes her back to his pimp barn for a roll in the hay, and they get it on standing up. This is Skinamax at this point.
Boy, did it look like a Red Shoe Diaries moment. Directed by Zalman King, we talked about in another podcast.
Send the kids to bed. This is
This is a hard R sequence. No,
a hard R sequence. Yeah, they get it on against the wall. They get it on in the bed. They get it on the roof, Jordan, on the roof where everybody can see them, including Wesley, who's still creeping on them. Like,
tin roof rusted. Love Shack, baby.
I know. To see some action, then Wesley just has to sit outside on his back porch, and something's always going on in Dalton's apartment barn.
Yeah, and he's sitting there being a peeping Tom with his binoculars and drinking his brandy or sipping whatever. And Ben messing with his Gazzara.
He's just like, I thought you'd be bigger. Anyway.
And yeah, exactly. I thought you'd be bigger.
So then Cody tells Dalton that even a blind person can see that he's looking for trouble, and that Wesley had a thing for the doc, for Elizabeth. So he needs to leave that alone. And
yeah. You know who had a thing for Elizabeth Clay? Brad Wesley.
Small town. Small town.
I mean, and that's isn't she younger than him a bit? I don't mean to.
I mean, Wesley can have he tries to buy everything in town, right? I mean, Denise is way younger than him.
Yeah, and he's already got that blonde living with him. He's clearly got a thing for blondes, this Wesley guy.
It's all about power. It's just all about power. It's not about anything. You know what I mean? He's also a big game hunter, and his whole house is filled with trophies, ridiculously so.
He's got a thing for taxidermy for sure.
But he's your typical movie villain, but there's some nuance there. He is certainly on a power trip here. So not only does he cut off the liquor, but he sends his men to physically stop the liquor from being delivered to the Double Douche. What is it, Jordan? Is he supplying the liquor? I guess they're trying to go to another distributor or something.
That's what I figured. He was going through another distributor. That's just all it was. And then, his men showed up to be a dickhead, basically, and were like, no. You can't have this liquor.
Stop it. No.
But luckily at that point, Jordan, Wade Garrett shows up. He's like, I'm looking for a skinny little guy named Dalton.
Thank God. Wade Garrett showed up. Gentlemen, Wade Garrett, as Jeff Healey announces. Jeff Healey announces all the characters in the movie. It's funny. Screenwriting 101. Have Jeff Healey announce your character.
Hey, it's Wayne Garrett. You know who he is. That's who.
He gives you a background. Literally, it's great. Yeah. I mean, where was Jeff Healey in the movie Mean Streets? Oh, Johnny, he likes to blow things up. I don't know.
He's there for exposition and music.
Beauty and the Beast, even 1989. Oh, he's Beauty. That's the Beast. Anyway.
So that's true. And then and at this point, it's kind of weird. So Wade shows up. And to me, it feels like it's a sequel to a movie called Roadhouse, Roadhouse 2, Dalton's Revenge or something. You know what I mean?
We're getting a sequel right in the first movie.
In the middle, we're getting a sequel to the first act. I don't know.
Or before the third act, I guess. The third act is a sequel.
I don't know. It just, to me, it just feels like the second movie should have Wade in it, right? I don't know. Not the first movie. First movie should be about Patrick Swayze taking back the Roadhouse. Second movie is bigger, badder Roadhouse. Now they got to get Wade. We talked about him in the first movie. I don't know. Anyway.
Roadhouse 2, TOO. And then you have Elliott and Swayze on the poster.
No, you didn't.
Both looking at their watches, stepping out of a classic car.
Yeah.
Outside the new double deuce. The double deuce.
Jason Bateman sits there with a basketball for no reason. Anyway, so
exactly. Jason Bateman's in it too. Yeah, just like Teen Wolf 2.
So then Dalton's outside getting his ass kicked by Wesley's men.
Oh yeah, so he helps stop the guys from taking out the liquor supply. So so a big fight ensues. Yeah, right there on the docks of the Deuce, I guess. Right.
Yeah. Drink. It's another fight. Every time there's a fight, drink. So we get a fight, and Wade's kicking ass. So they win the fight, and I mean, I don't know how, because Dalton was getting the shit kicked out of him. And then he's like, "All right, let's go out and have some beers." Like,
I know. Damn, dude. I was kind of disappointed in Dalton here. I thought he was like Superman at this point, and it kind of let me down.
Well, Guy did sneak up on him and hit him in the head with a break of liquor bottle over his head. I mean, come on, Jordan. He's not a superhero.
We saw him doing all that Tai Chi next to the river. All that. I mean, I thought he knew some shit, man. I thought he knew some moves, man. But no, these rednecks just take cheap shots at him, and suddenly he's sideswiped. He's blindsided that badly.
Jordan, this is an old screenwriting trope we call feeding the dog, Jordan. And it's where somebody who should do something doesn't do it very well, just so that someone else can come in and save them.
Right back to the pitch meeting guy. So the movie can happen.
The movie can happen, Jordan. So they go out drinking, a night of reminiscing and getting drunk and hanging out. And Wade is all up on Elizabeth, dude. Like, he is...
Oh, yeah. Flirting with Dalton's new girlfriend, Elizabeth Clay, the doc.
Yeah.
He's dancing with her. They're dancing to George Strait. He's singing along. Oh, my ex is living Texas, buying my head. I'm sorry, yeah.
They're all together, and they're very clearly, these two dudes are very close, right? He calls him Mio. He calls him son, pretty much. And
Mio.
It feels like a menage of mullets is going to break out here, because he's being real creepy, and then Dalton's like, cool, whatever.
A menage of mullets.
And he's being real creepy as he's dancing with Elizabeth, and they're at this cafe.
But he's so charming, though.
He is so charming in a slimy way. Because he's Sam Elliott, he can't help but be charming.
Nobody else can rock that salt and pepper long hair like him.
Yeah. But he's just dancing with her, and where's the cafe bouncer to come up? Hey, man, get your hands off her. Come on, let's go. Outside, buddy. It's like, anyway.
Yeah, he is putting the moves on her, though. He's dancing real close, and he's dipping her and diving her and all that.
Yeah. And then we find out what happened in Memphis. That Dalton was unknowingly messing around with a married woman. She didn't tell him she was married, and he killed a man in self-defense.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering if I heard that right in the dialogue.
The way just like, gotta let it go. Dude. Back at the Roadhouse, Wesley's men set fire to Red's place, which is, I always thought, real convenient that it's across the street. You know what I mean? Right next to the Roadhouse, there's the auto part shop. But anyway, they set fire to the place as a message to Tilghman, like, hey, we're not going to be stopped here. We'll do this to Red, we'll do this to you, pretty much.
Yeah.
But then Wesley's got some huge cojones, man. He just shows up as the place across the street, which clearly his guys set on fire.
He's like the sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood, basically, where he just owns everything and takes what he wants,
Yeah. And he just walks into the bar like nothing's happened. And his girlfriend, because we haven't seen boobs in 10 minutes in this movie, does a striptease on the stage in front of everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, Wesley's men start a big old brawl, and we get another fight. And then we get Jimmy, which is, probably his toughest henchman. The guy you have to fight before you get to the big boss, that's Jimmy, Marshall Teague, who is actor and martial artist himself, man.
Oh, yeah.
He totally knows Kung Fu in this movie. I totally know Kung Fu.
Man, he does. And we get him doing I assume it's really him, a big flip, like a big jump flip, somersault in the air kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. He's great, man. He's really great, and he's fighting like Swayze. It's like a really good fight.
Which you do kind of think that he's going to best the Swayze. That's what's great about him. You really actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. He looks like he's going to kill Swayze.
Yeah,
like he might be able to kill him possibly.
That's some good direction. I like that because this guy is tougher than Swayze. You know, 1-on-1, all things being equal, he's probably a better fighter than Dalton is.
Yeah, look at how that looks more streamlined. Whatever he's into compared to Swayze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's more polished. Swayze's more of a brawler. Yeah, he does Tai Chi, and he does train a little bit, but he's not like this. This dude is a professional martial artist, basically, and you could tell.
Yeah, he has a dirty fighting style by comparison. Dalton does actually compared to this guy.
And I think it's all a test because I think Wesley just shoots off a gun in the place and then stops and just takes his guys and leave. I mean, he's just trying to send a message here, and I think he's like. His dude could have killed. You're right. Could have killed Dalton at that moment if he let it go on. Yeah. But I don't know. He's playing the long game. Wesley, what do you think of Ben Gazzara as Wesley?
I like how he is. He's cold, calculating. He looks good in a suit, in a white suit. He looks good dressed up like Truman Capote.
Yeah, he has the same tailor as Truman Capote. That's
literally has the same tailor as Truman Capote. Clearly,
I get my suits at the same place as Ben Gazzara.
He's like, I want the same guy as Brad Wesley. Okay, would that be okay? Let me tell you a sonnet that I wrote about the suit that Brad Wesley wore. Because I thought it was so beautiful.
Anyway, so,
deep cut there, Truman Capote. Jeez, whoa!
Check Truman Capote impressions. That's what you get on this podcast.
For you readers out there,
join our spinoff podcast, Robots Took My Podcast Book Club, where we talk about books and movies.
And speaking of, But yeah, I believe that he does all that. I believe Ben Gazzara as this guy. I believe that it's all him doing it. He sells it to me. I don't know. What do you think is Ben Gazzara? What do you think of Ben Gazzara's performance?
Oh, first off, the answer to what do you think of Ben Gazzara's performance is like, it's awesome. It's always good. I mean, there's no other way to say it. But I think
he never gave a bad performance, right? Isn't in a movie, right?
Not that I've ever seen. And he's always played like just the bad guy. But I mean, he's got range.
He says the dialogue with complete sincerity and believability, just the same way Harry Dean Stanton does, or Warren Oates does, or he has a natural quality, right? Just as much as those guys do.
Yeah, he looks completely. But I think that he's a little underutilized in this. I think there's plenty of him, but he's kind of like a stock villain, and I'd wish there'd been a little more depth.
Yeah,
because Ben Gazzara could do that. Ben Gazzara could give you another wrinkle to Brad Wesley, could give you another layer to him real easy and really, really make you love or hate him or whatever you want to do. He could have done that. So he's doing what he's being directed to do. But I still think he's kind of like, it's just like he's being held back a little bit. This is Ben Gazzara here, man. He's like new school and New York actor. I mean, this is like, you got some chops here, but they're not being used as well as they could have been.
This is maybe Ben Gazzara restrained a bit.
Yeah, they're holding him. He's like, put me in, coach. I want to play. It's like, all right, Ben, no, hold on.
I mean, this is just like casting back to, this is a year before. This is a year after he died. But this would be the same as like casting somebody like John Cassavetes as the villain. Where, you're right. He would say the lines with sincerity.
He would just say the lines. He'd be good.
Like, let him be unrestrained. Let him be unchained. So to speak. But I believe.
No, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, you're right. You bring up a good point. I believe you. I agree with you though on that. Actually,
I'm just saying a little extra. That's all. But anyway, so he's good. He's great in this role. So then all the town businessmen get together and they're all pissed off about Wesley, like shaking him down all the time. And I mean, Dalton's been the only person to come to town because this is a Western, right?
You're right. It is a Western, totally. A neon Western, as you said in the beginning.
He's the guy with a white hat who rides into town and taking on the evil cattle baron or the sheriff of Nottingham or whatever it is. Yeah.
The town baddie, the town thuggy, the town heavy.
And so he's like standing up to him and everyone's like, come on, you need to take him down. And Dalton's like, no, I don't do that. That's not what And so, he and his mullet leave and... But
this is the townspeople going after the thuggy, like with torches, like going after the Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, exactly. They want Dalton to do something, and he's not, because he's not there,
including the local town car owner.
Yes,
Chevrolet owner, or whatever. I don't know.
Bob Willis Chevrolet. Yeah, we get whatever his name was.
The owner of the local Spradlin Ford. But yeah, he's like so powerful, he's going to go up against him even, which I love how this scene's going to play out.
Yeah, and what happens in the exact next scene?
Okay, we're talking about the scene, I hope, where he has a Bigfoot truck, stomper truck. I mean, like what you see at a Sunday. Here comes Bigfoot. Here comes a Bigfoot truck. Gonna stomp on 5 cars. I mean, he literally has this drive over a whole and drive right through the building, smash half the building down even in the process.
Yeah.
The building must be made of just, thin sheets of plywood or something.
Yeah. It's funny because this Bigfoot monster truck has appeared in the movie several times until now. And it's like, the movie's like, well, we paid for that monster truck we've been teasing this whole movie, so we got to use it, and this is when they use it. And literally, there's no purpose to this scene except to have like Wesley just have one of his henchmen drive a Bigfoot truck all over these station wagons and whatnot.
Yeah. And I am sorry. I feel like the extras are way too enthusiastic about this.
Yeah. I guess.
Well, direction here in this scene. I know you had a big stunt here, guys, but because even with the extras, if you look in the background, everybody's like, yay, look at this. We get to watch. And I mean, how? Why wouldn't you be? As the second unit director, whoever coordinated the directors or even the director, you should have been like, I'm sorry. I'm going to be critical. Should have been like, hey, you're sad about this. You don't want to see this guy go down. You don't want to see his business go down. Remember that, people. I know this is exciting to watch.
Yeah, but it's so gratuitous. It's like this whole movie is like WWE. You know what I mean?
But it is a great scene to watch, though. I mean, it's a great fucking stunt, though.
It's great. I mean, it's
because I love all the stunts in this movie.
It's so 80s, and that's why like kids were like, I think,
yeah.
Oh, whoa, did you see the scene where like the monster truck ran over like all the blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly where we're at. Like we've got fights, we've got boobs, now we have like cars getting crushed.
You mean young people were watching this? Like, like this was a movie with TNA, car crushing?
I don't remember any of the TNA. I was, I remember the car crushing. I remember the fights, it was like...
But yeah, that's probably why that's probably why I drew kids in, man. That was the gateway to this movie, was the car crushing and all the stunts, probably.
It's a gateway.
And the
So, did you know this scene reportedly cost $500,000 to film? This one 30-second whatever it was.
Are you joking?
Yeah, no, seriously. I
believe you, though.
Asterisk internet articles, but it's just like I was sitting there thinking, like, oh my god, that's a station wagon. How much is that worth? Oh my god, like these weren't like prop cars either. It looked like these were fairly new cars that were getting crushed, and I was like,
yeah, it looks like they built. I mean, to me, I could tell they built a section of set so that it would crush a lot. It'd be more epic of a kind of a takedown kind of thing, with the truck taking the whole half the place down while it's crushing all these cars. So you could see that, but then it really is like it. I mean, it's fun to watch. Yeah, I did go over that scene and go, oh my god, like because they were. I mean, literally going over 3 or 4 cars that are sitting in this showroom that are all shiny and new looking.
It's totally 80s.
You gotta love that, of course. Yeah, and in the 80s, we loved to go through glass for some reason, a big glass window with a car.
Yeah. That's right. You had to have it.
Just love a reason for that all the time. Go back, kids. You can see it.
The producer's like, we like the movie, but can there be a scene where somebody just like a car drives through like a glass window? Can we make that happen?
A glass window.
And in a parking garage. Can we have a scene in a parking garage too? All right.
Yeah. Maybe this time it goes into a toy store and we see a bunch of, those balls kids play with, a whole bunch of them just roll out of the little place, That's what we want to see as the audience, right? What were they thinking back then? Jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so like Wesley he meets up with Elizabeth. He's like, you better take your boy Dalton out of town or bad things are going to happen. So it's like, okay, now suddenly Wesley was messing around for most of this movie. Now he's starting to get serious. And when Ben Gazzara says, take your boyfriend out of town, you believe it. Like, ooh.
Yeah, I definitely believed it. I was scared. I was worried about Dalton. I really was.
Yeah, so then we get the third act threat where the villain's like, you better not stick around for the third act. And
you better get out of town before the third act or I'll kill you. You understand? See?
So Wade tells Dalton that he better leave, and Dalton, of course, refuses. And
is this where Dalton's like pissed off and he's like punching the bag and everything?
Yeah,
I love
this
that.
is like his footloose, angry dance scene. Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about this just for a sec because he's like, you're all fucked up from that, and it's almost like Sam Elliott doesn't say this in the scene, but I expect him to say, "Oh shit, kid, you got a training montage without a song here."
It does feel like it. What the hell are you doing?
Because he's literally just like punching the bag, and then he starts climbing the rope. Right, he's doing the whole Vision Quest thing, like montage right there. He's like reenacting the whole Vision Quest montage right in front of us. Training montage. Yeah.
Can we get some Kenny Loggins music to play in here for a minute?
Play that damn "Meet Me Halfway" song. I don't care. Meet me halfway.
Yeah, because he's training. It's a cool. I kind of wanted to see a training montage there. I really did. I mean,
yeah. Why not? I mean, yeah. Have Sam Elliott talking to him, but yeah, like I don't know, yeah, cut over it, like like, oh, this thing got you all fucked up. Dum 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 dum. I need a hero,
something like that. Yeah.
I'm holding out for a hero till the morning light. I mean, it looked great with the Swayze. Spray some baby oil on him. Great, it looked great on the. Look great. Come on, 80s. Come on, Rowdy Harrington, director.
But I mean. This is the late 80s, Jordan. We're getting into the 90s almost here. Okay.
But I guess we didn't have time for that because we got to get to the end of the movie, I guess.
Got to get to the end of the movie. So Dalton Wade is really, and I kind of like the writing for this because Wade is like, he's not like, hey, let's take them on together and whatever. He's like, get the fuck out of here, man. It's like, this dude is a bad guy. This is just a job. What the hell are we doing in this little town? Yeah. You're all fucked up from Memphis. Take the girl and go. What the hell are you doing?
He can go be a cooler anywhere, I'm sure. He can go to Vegas, for Roadhouse 2, for the sequel.
Do you want to live to see Roadhouse 2? Well, I do too.
Yeah.
So they have some father-son bonding. And I will say, Jordan, I love their chemistry, man. These two, what
Sam
do you
Elliott
think about
and
it?
yeah,
Swayze.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a Western, like you say, once again. It adds that Western element.
But anyway, so Sam Elliott says, I'm out of here. I'm leaving this movie.
Yeah.
Wade will return in Roadhouse 2, Memphis Nights. So Dalton wants to take Wesley on, and he has something to prove, I guess, because of the Memphis thing, because of, I don't know what. He's just this, he's locked into this by the plot. He's got to take on the big bad.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't get a flashback to the whole Memphis thing. Just explain it more to us as the audience, like how important it was, or just some quick cutaway. Like,
you're right. I mean, it would have been cool to see a little bit of that. But even Elizabeth's telling him, "Hey, you got to leave town," and he's stubborn. At this point, everyone's telling him to leave, but he's stubborn. And then what happens, Jordan? Do you remember? Wesley firebombs Emmett's house. The old farmer guy who he's renting from.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, firebombs. Man, and yeah, it
almost kills him.
Yeah.
And who did it, Jordan? Who did it?
Could it be Brad Wesley?
No, well, it was, but it was Jimmy, his henchman, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It was Jimmy the henchman.
Yeah, it was Jimmy, the Marshall Teague character. And he's escaping on a motorcycle. But then what happens, Jordan? What does Dalton do?
My God, I'm sorry, remind me again. I'm sorry.
He's getting away, and then Dalton runs and knocks him off his motorcycle, right?
Right.
Dalton outruns a motorcycle magically, and then he knocks him off.
Oh, my God, how did I miss that part? Okay.
And it's cool because Patrick Swayze and even Sam Elliott, a lot of these guys did their own stunts in this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can see where there's times where there's like a stunt, a stunt man.
Yeah.
And Swayze wanted to do the stunt where he tackles Jimmy off of his motorcycle, but they wouldn't let him, obviously.
I could see that. Yeah, totally. The Swayze wanted to do it the Swayze way.
Then they get in the big fight, like a rehash of the fight earlier. Out there, right on the river at night, you've got this great scene where Dalton and Jimmy are just going at it. It's an epic fight, man. It's an epic
This
fight.
is another scene where I feel like, that he could have killed him, basically, Dalton. Because, I mean, man, it looks, the way he is and that smooth fighting he's doing, this is a great scene, though. I love the way it looks. and the way the camera's swooping around them. I like the way it looks. Man, they're got the light on the Swayze muscles, you know.
Yeah, and Jimmy swings a log and hits Dalton in the stomach, and that actually broke a few of Swayze's ribs.
Really?
It wasn't Swayze thought it was like a breakaway log or something. You know, it was just a part of a tree. It was like,
damn. Man, I just think about all the times he's been like he was dancing in Dirty Dancing with that injured knee, like going back into action on him. I just think about all the times I've heard about him. No joke, being injured on movies, and just think like, man, what a trooper.
Yeah, wasn't he injured in Point Break too?
Yeah, it was that football knee he had again. It was in the football scene in the movie with the headlights on. They had to shoot that thing all night apparently, and he was going, and his knee was killing him at that point apparently.
Yeah, I thought I broke some ribs surfing too, but man, I mean, hey, you got to give it to the Swayze, dude. I mean,
just, man, what talk about? As I say, talk about a trooper, man. Shit, talk about a tough hombre.
Are you not entertained, dude? Anyway, so they're just having this epic fight, which is fantastic.
It's some kind of karate, I guess, in this fight, you know, some kind of tai chi, some kind of combination of martial arts fighting styles.
Yeah, and then he has this line, Jimmy has this line, it's like, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
Yeah, another cute, clever line from this movie.
This movie has a bunch of quotable lines, yeah.
Just so many zingers.
And then he pulls a gun. I mean, like, Swayze kicks his ass, and then he pulls a gun. And then what happens, Jordan? What happens? What does Dalton do?
He rips out his throat? Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's the big thing that this movie was, like, known for. Like, holy shit, bro. That scene where...
It's like some Bruce Lee shit here. It's like, man, yeah. What a scene. What a moment. Man, you're right. That scene, jeez. Talk about a way of taking somebody out. Yeah.
It's like this movie went there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, damn, dude. And it's not as graphic as you think. That's sort of the things I remember. It's one of those things. It's like the ear cutting scene in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
It's like it seems more graphic than it really is. You know,
but this movie's very Grindhouse, isn't it? I mean, when you bring that up, it's like,
yes,
it's like
very Roadhouse.
I mean, it came out in 1989, and that's like the last of the Grindhouse hardcore era right there. Until Tarantino comes into the 90s again with stuff. Or
I think it has. It's definitely kind of like going for this low rent chic. You know, it's really like in the gutter, but at the same time, it's like, I'm a real movie, everybody. You know, It's definitely like that. And you don't normally see scenes like this, even in much more graphic movies.
I say Grindhouse. I mean, yeah, this was an A-list movie. This was an A release, you know, a first run release movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was a Grindhouse kind of B movie release kind of thing or anything like that. But I compare it to that still at the same time, just, you know.
Yeah, it has that gritty vibe. And I think that maybe this is Patrick Swayze's way of saying, oh, you thought Dirty Dancing is what I do? Well, check this out. I'm going to rip somebody's throat out in a movie. Like,
yeah,
damn,
clearly
dude.
He was changing it up every time. And I mean, and Point Break would be after this where he plays a bad guy.
Yeah.
It is interesting how he changes up things. Yeah, he did. That's interesting how he would change modes on movies, definitely.
Yeah. And so apparently filming this scene, it took 5 days for them to film this.
Oh, shit.
And they fought like 71 times or something like that.
How freaking exhausting is that? I mean,
yeah. Rowdy wanted to get this. This was the fight of the movie. That he wanted to get this. In a movie of fights, this is the main fight.
Dang. I didn't realize that. Man, well, that makes you appreciate the scene on a whole new level, don't it?
Yeah. So then Elizabeth is there and she is not happy about this because her guy just ripped some dude's throat out. I mean, understandably.
We're over. We're finished, honey.
So,
bye.
I was good, and then
changing my Facebook status.
Exactly.
From complicated to end of relationship to single.
What happened on your date the other night? He ripped this guy's throat out. Like, no, he didn't. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Oh, it was... I couldn't after that.
And he forgot your birthday. No, that's it. That's it, girl.
Because he had to work at the Double Deuce that night? Jeez.
So she leaves in disgust, and then Dalton just throws the body into the river, screaming Wesley's name. You know, Wesley! Which I love. I love that. That's awesome.
Wolverines. I couldn't help it.
That's a good one.
Same Swayze, different movie.
And then, so he's destroying evidence, just throwing this body in the river.
Oh, shit. Yeah, the coroner needs to see this body, and they need that for evidence. What is he doing? Yeah, why? Yeah, you're right.
And then Dalton gets a call. He picks up the phone, and who is it?
Oh, it's Wesley, isn't it?
Yeah. And what does he say?
He says, come have a fight in my trophy room later on in the movie.
No, he doesn't. No, he says either Wade or Elizabeth is going to die. And you see him, he's like flipping a coin.
Oh, that's right. One of these people are going to die. Please come have a fight in my trophy room later on with a bunch of my henchmen.
Can you schedule me?
Before you get to me.
So he flips a coin. And we don't see who it is, right? And then Wade shows up at the bar and he's all beat up. And then Dalton's like, holy shit, Elizabeth's the one who's going to die. And we as the audience is like, oh shit, Elizabeth's going to die, right?
Yeah, and he lays in the bar bleeding, and one of the other bouncers like wipes him off with a big cloth. Like, you're wiping the bar off. No, I'm just joking. But
he puts some barkeep's friend on his wounds.
But he lays all over the bar all bleeding and shit like, oh, fuck, I'm all fucked up. I'm about to die. I'm just going to die on the top of your bar here.
Well, that's not what happens yet. Hold on.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Dalton freaks out and goes to the hospital, but Elizabeth's fine. She's there and she's like, I'm not going to leave with you. I told you, you ripped that guy's throat out and we're over. I just,
Yeah. You ripped that guy's throat out. We're done. That was the last straw.
I blocked your number. Now stop, go away. And so anyway, then Dalton goes back to the bar and what does he find?
Oh, is this where he finds Wade?
Yes.
All fucked up, all messed up.
He's messed. Some would say he's messed up. Some might say he's dead, Jordan.
Sorry.
With even a knife in him.
I mean, he's dead. Messed up, dead. Messed up and dead. Bloody messed up and dead.
With a note on him.
With a note on him. Oh, that's right. The note. I love this part because it's stabbed in him. And my wife walked in right when I was watching this part. And she was like, wait, what did it say on the note? Run it back. And it says, it's tails. It's tails, Anthony.
It was Wade. I love that note, man. I love that note.
Stabbed right into Wade's chest right there. No, he didn't use sticky notes. No, he stabbed a note right into him. But wouldn't it have been funny if he put a bunch of sticky notes on there?
And with his last breath, and then Wade wakes up and he's like, avenge me, Walt. Avenge me.
Sorry, I had to throw the red dime line in there because you're Patrick Swayze.
Thought it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Dude.
I know, and I'm surprised that he's killed. Wade was a tough dude. I mean, I'm just shocked that he got taken out so easily.
I mean, I was moved at that point. I was like, God damn, dude, this is like, wait, we're not getting a Roadhouse 2 with Wade. And I feel robbed.
Yeah. Oh man. Not even in that Roadhouse sequel with Jonathan Shake, we don't get no Wade showing back up from the dead. I mean,
no, we don't.
I don't think that would have been big news, I'm sure.
No, but I mean, you got to give it to this movie. I mean, it kills the lovable, mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, but it is screenwriting 101. It is the hero's journey, the death of the mentor, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, but you're right, though, man. I don't want Wade to die, Anthony. I want him to, you know what? Maybe he can live on in a Roadhouse sequel, and you can see him in flashbacks. Come on, please. No? Maybe.
We have to do a Roadhouse prequel now, and he's too old, man.
Oh. Okay, never mind.
Anyway.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, screenwriters.
Yeah, God, he's right up there with Pappas dying in Point Break. It's just like, it's that same kind of death. You didn't want him to die, man. You don't want Obi-Wan to die.
Well, I mean, I was a little less concerned that Gary Busey died. I don't know. Anyway, but Sam Elliott's too cool to die.
All right, I mean, can you imagine if they'd had him show up in a Roadhouse sequel and like Wade showed up like an Obi-Wan Kenobi ghost? He's like, Wade, I thought you were dead. Well, yeah, only in the flesh, Dalton. I'm here to give you some advice here. Something I never thought about was thinking before I was acting, Dalton. And that's what killed me in the end. So, I don't know, some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, but we'll never get that. Because the end of the movie's happening here, right? So now Swayze acting chops, and the end of that scene, you really see some grief. I would have loved to see him dwell in that more, but they cut quickly. We leave that scene.
Oh
right?
yeah, more of like a Blade Runner moment, like where he's like trying to wipe up the blood or something off him.
Just crying, just
crying,
just
or
punching the wall, just something.
You know what? We had more of a Sam Elliott death moment in the movie Blade. You talk about taking advantage of something, and Blade sat there. Blade actually dwelled on it more, even to its credit. Blade, like he sat there trying to wipe up the dude's wounds, like in the movie. Wesley Snipes as Blade tried to. I'm just saying. Giving another example of why, you're right. They could have had more in this moment. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, movie's long enough, but anyway, we cut to a scene and the Swayze is just barreling down across the yard, through fences, toward Wesley's mansion, right?
Yeah.
And his men are just shooting at it. They're just filling it full of bullets. And then what happens?
We get to the moment, the mansion.
Well, yeah, we get to the mansion, but it was all a ruse, Jordan. It was like Dalton had stuck the knife into the accelerator pedal, and it was just to set the car into motion.
Oh, that's right. He sent it shooting down the hill right into his mansion. That Dalton, what a genius.
Yeah, it was all a ruse. It was a fake out. It was a distraction, man. And I like that. Dalton's using his brains. He's using that PhD that he got from NYU.
How did he know how to do that with that PhD in philosophy? How? How does he know how to do all this with that PhD in philosophy? It's amazing.
I know. They teach you a lot. I mean, it's some extracurricular. He minored in auto repair.
Man, I should have gone to NYU. Jeez, man. I guess their philosophy program teaches you, auto repair and Eastern fighting styles.
It's a true university, Jordan. It's a true, well-rounded people. So
plug NYU.
So anyway, I love this scene, and I wish it were longer. And Dalton goes out for vengeance, and he's killing Wesley's men one by one.
It's like a Sam Peckinpah moment or something.
Oh yeah,
definitely like a Joel Silver moment. Definitely like a Lethal Weapon kind of moment.
And Jordan, the hunter has become the huntee.
Oh yeah.
Because Wesley, the big game hunter, is now being stalked in his own trophy room, as you mentioned.
Oh yeah. This is after Dalton's taking out all his men.
Yeah. He's on the hunt for Dalton now.
Like after the bear fell on the bear.
Yeah.
And the
the bear fell on the bear. He pushed the bear on the rotund gentleman. Yes, he did. Sitting on that one all podcast, weren't you, Jordan?
Well, I've been sitting on that all the time, mostly. Okay, you got me.
No, that's funny.
You got me, Anthony. I'm in your trophy room now, Anthony. But yeah, the hunter becoming the hunted, the game becoming the hunted, the hunter becoming the game.
I wish they drew this out at the expense of all the other crap they could have cut. There's a lot of scenes. They could have cut a few fights to really have a cat and mouse kind of thing play out a little more here.
Oh yeah, this is where I had the Gazzara versus the Swayze in my notes, and Gazzara power. I mean, Gazzara does hold his own scene in this. If we're getting to the fight scene now with Gazzara and Swayze, where it's literally like a face-off between these titans. Gazzara, man, does hold. He looks like he's gonna mess Swayze up. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he? I mean, just the way he's coming at him.
Because he shoots Swayze and he kind of grazes him. That's what I was thinking, like 1-on-1. But Swayze's been shot, so he's kind of fighting. And like at one point, Gazzara gets like a spear, from Africa, presumably.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
So it's a big fight. Well, of course, it's a Swayze movie.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton gets him, and he's holding him down. He's got his hand ready. He's pissed off. Remember, his mentor's dead. All these emotions are happening. But remember Memphis, dude. Remember Memphis. He killed that dude in Memphis just to watch him die, right?
Yeah.
And so
Dalton could possibly kill somebody again. Possibly.
What does he do? He remembers rule number 3.
Oh yeah, not to be nice. Well, he's nice at first, but then
does he rip his throat out? What happens, Jordan? What happens? Spoiler alert!
Wait, Gazzara gets shot, but I got confused though. Wait, he gets shot by other people, right?
Well, exactly. Hold on, we're getting there. So Dalton hesitates. He doesn't rip Wesley's throat out, and Elizabeth shows up with Red and then a bunch of the town businessmen. And Gazzara reaches in his boot and gets a gun. And then what happens, Jordan?
Then he gets shot by the other townspeople.
Yeah.
Basically gunned down, and he goes down into a glass coffee table, which looks just like a coffee table my stepmother used to own. So it was really tripping me out looking at that part, because for a second it looked like Ben Gazzara was getting gunned down in my stepmother's living room. Anyway.
But I think it's a good twist. That kind of thing has happened in many, many movies. But
yeah.
I like the fact that usually in a movie, it's like the hero is about to kill the villain. Then he's like, I can't do it. And then he turns, and then the villain finds a gun. Then the hero can kill the villain. He's justified because he's,
Yeah, he did. We did have our Mad Max Road Warrior moment where he had him down and he had his fist over him, and he looked like he was gonna take his eyes out, take him out through his eyes, almost the way his fingers were shaped.
He's like, I'd be no better than you, bro. I'm not gonna do that. It's not who I am.
Why does he sound like Keanu now?
I don't know, because it just seems like every time there's bad screenwriting, I think that I just hear Keanu's voice. I don't know why.
But it was the Swayze, and he's like, I'm no better than you, Molly. Nobody puts Brad Wesley in the corner.
You know what? I could put you in the corner, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I could kill you right now, Roadhouse style, but I'm not going to. But yeah, later on he gets thrown into the glass, shot into the glass, and the glass table.
And then the cops show up. And of course, nobody saw anything, including the bear who had the bear thrown on him.
Oh, yeah.
And then how does the movie end?
Wait, I forgot, wasn't it? No, they're back at the, no, wait, what? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just remember live music.
Yeah, well, it pretty much ends with Dalton. Yeah, well, it does end with live music, but it also ends with Dalton and Elizabeth making out nude in the river. Hey, nothing to see here, guys. Movie over. Yeah, and then we get the Jeff Healey band there playing a song over the credits, which it's a good song. There's good music in this movie, Jordan. Very bluesy, rocky soundtrack to this that really sounds like Roadhouse music.
It makes me feel like I'm at a roadhouse,
All by the Jeff Healey band. And that's it. It's weird. We just got a performance over the credits. Okay, I don't know.
It wasn't just me. I thought that was kind of off a little bit because it did kind of confuse me. Yeah, okay, so...
Okay, here's what I see as the good. I think the acting and the stunts are great in this movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I have two people inside me, the intellectual film guy and the redneck critic, I mean, the redneck critic loves this movie. He's like, yeehaw, goddamn, I love this movie. So many fights and stunts, goddamn. This guy just bought himself a can of whoop ass. Oh, my God. And this other guy just bought himself another can of whoop ass.
And some monster trucks.
It's a monster truck driving over 4 trucks right through the damn dealership. It's amazing.
And the fights are good.
And the fights, man. But it's an entertaining movie, man. Fuck the intellectual film guy on this movie. Just let him go. If you want to have a good time watching a movie, let the intellectual film guy go, people.
Turn off your brain. Because I hear a butt coming, Jordan. What's the butt in this movie?
But yes, could some things have been a little better than others, like you mentioned? Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But
like, what could be improved?
I'm trying to think what could be improved. I mean,
for me, it's too on the nose that Wesley lives right across the creek from Dalton. I get it, but that's just too much. That's too much. That's too stupid.
There's your butt right there. And that's a lot of things in this movie. There's too many on the nose. This is a very by the book kind of script. It almost feels like a TV movie of the week. Yeah. Sometimes, I dare say.
I agree.
And it's by the book style, right down to introducing the characters and naming them right in front of you. Or this here happens to be Brad Wesley. Oh, that happens to be Wade. Thank you, Mr. Obvious.
Yeah. There's some funny zingers, but there's a lot of cheesy dialogue, and a lot of the jokes don't land. And I don't think they landed in the 80s, man, to be honest.
I don't really think it matters if you tell the audience who the character's name is when they walk in the scene. Yeah. Other than maybe saying their name right away. Hey, Bobby, you want a beer kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's bad dialogue, it's bad screenwriting, it's tantamount to a voiceover like we were talking about with Tarantino.
This is a movie. Show me, don't tell me. Show me, damn it.
Exactly.
It's visual. I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Go for that more. Try for that more, people, right?
It's like this movie has its fists up and it wants to use them. It just wants to fight. It's like, movie, put your fist down for a minute. Tell us what's going on.
But we say all this, but we're still talking about this movie. And this movie came out in 1989, and people still love this movie enough to warrant even a remake on Amazon Prime. Free plug, you know? I mean,
have we just run out of ideas? Are we just trying to mine everything now?
And that doesn't even look like a Roadhouse. They call it Roadhouse, but it's set in Florida. And it doesn't even look like it's in a roadhouse. Like
in name only.
Name only, literally. A roadhouse is something outside of town. Okay? It's a bar where more things can happen because it's not in the town district. I have been to a roadhouse bar. Hell, my mom took me to one at 16. It wasn't as violent as this movie, but it was actually way more passive by comparison.
Did your mom end up punching somebody?
She did. Well, almost me.
Did a handsome man with a mullet clean up the roadhouse, Jordan?
No, my mom almost ended up roadhousing me, though, when I started giggling after spilling my beer, and she leaned over and went, "Stop it, or we're going to get kicked out of here. You understand that?" And I was like, "Okay, Mommy, I won't do it anymore." Okay. She was my Dalton in that moment.
Wonderful. But this movie, Jordan, are we trying to hold a movie called Roadhouse to some sort of highfalutin cinematic standard?
No,
Do you know
absolutely
what I mean?
not. What do we go on this movie for? Not to be.
Was this Bergman here? What are we? Is this Kurosawa?
Exactly.
What are we? Are we trying to? Are we trying
Exactly.
to make a film?
Exactly. This is not a movie like Desperate Characters with Shirley MacLaine or something. This is not a character study of a movie. We don't go into a movie called Roadhouse expecting a movie like you say, an Ingmar Bergman movie where it's all about the interiors and the characters.
Yeah. Glenn Close isn't in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This roadhouse has been in my family for years. Many people have drank here. Many people have died here. Yes.
No.
I mean, we're not going to the movie for that. No, we want to see some beer drinking, ass kicking, man.
And that's what it is. It's a bloody, dumb, violent 80s comic book of a neon western of a movie.
I love that too, neon western, man. That's right up there with tech noir Terminator kind of rating. You know?
So you talked about a remake, but there was also a sequel, which I think you talked about for a second, Roadhouse 2 direct-to-video.
Wasn't it? Yeah, Jonathan Shake. I didn't misremember this, did I? This is not a joke, honestly.
Was the universe denied a Roadhouse sequel with Patrick Swayze and maybe Sam Elliott, maybe a prequel?
Absolutely it was, in my opinion. Don't you think?
Oh, hell yeah.
Judging by the we were just raving about the chemistry. I mean, shit.
I'd watch another Roadhouse, movie. Sure, with those two. Oh, yeah.
Why couldn't, okay, fine, they killed him in this movie. Okay, just make a Roadhouse sequel, just like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. It's set 2 years earlier. That kind of thing. That wouldn't be much of a...
No.
You could dye Sam Elliott's hair just slightly, whatever.
Or it could have been the end while they're making out, having sex naked in the river. And he's like, "Bet you thought I was dead, Dalton, but your pain don't hurt." That's what could have happened. And then everyone high fives or I don't know, in freeze frame something. It's the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Or it was even eerie. Wade just walked right back in the door one day. And Dalton's like, "I thought you were dead. Pain don't hurt." And then he explains where he came from, how he,
some half-ass excuse, and the audience would be like, "We don't care.
We don't care.
Sam Elliott's back.
Exactly.
We don't care." Flimsy excuse accepted. Anyway, so Jordan, did this movie clean up at the box office?
Well, surely it did, didn't it?
Did it? I don't know. On a budget of 15 million, asterisk on all these numbers, it made 30 million domestic and 61.6 million globally.
I'd say that's a success. Honestly.
I would say
that's pretty successful. And what about the video even? We forgot the video.
Oh, no. It killed on cable and video. It killed. That's how I saw it. It killed on cable and video.
I'm sure that's how everybody else in the world discovered eventually, but it seemed like it was popular at the time when it came out.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Jordan, I don't think the critics received it very well.
That's shocking. I am shocked that the critics were not just all over this movie, like the way you and I are right now in this present time.
Yeah, it wasn't nominated for an Oscar.
What?
But it was nominated for a number of Razzies for Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Supporting Actor, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay.
Worst Supporting Actor, which one?
Oh, Ben Gazzara, of all damn things.
What?
Normally I agree with the Razzies, but this year I'm like, Razzies, come on, chill out, everybody.
Come on, Razzies. That's like sacrilege, man.
It's not that bad.
Ben Gazzara's never bad in anything, as we were just saying.
This is 1989. I know some shit movies came out then. Did Leviathan come out that year? I mean, like, come on, man. Come on.
I was just talking about that movie with somebody because it is up again on one of the streaming services, and they were watching it, and they're like, I forgot how cheesy it is.
Dude, that's not fair. 1989 was a much shittier movie than to have Roadhouse nominated for all the major Razzie categories. Because I think history has proven that it's just a fun, stupid cult movie and a guilty pleasure for a lot of people.
I mean, it survived this long, for real. No joke saying that. Enough to even warrant a remake at this point with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not even a movie that they made with Jake Gyllenhaal recently. That's a series they made with him. You can tell they're hoping like, oh, well, maybe it'll catch on and then everybody will dig it and then we can make more, you know.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I bet Jake Gyllenhaal didn't write any songs for the movie. Patrick Swayze co-wrote a couple songs, The Cliff's Edge, and sang on it.
Really?
And yeah. Raising Heaven and Hell Tonight for the movie soundtrack. So triple threat, Swayze. He could do it all.
So this would be the second movie he acted in and sang on the soundtrack of, technically. Like he did on Dirty Dancing before.
He's a man of...
She's like the wood to my tree. When he did that.
Man of many talents, Patrick Swayze. So Jordan, what kind of rating do you give this film?
I give this 7 out of 10 empty broken beer bottles.
Yeah.
Empty because, yeah, I mean, this is not a character study. But yeah, but this is a fun movie. I'm not going to lie. I had fun watching this fresh in all its widescreen glory.
Did it live up to your expectations as a person who hadn't seen it all these years?
Absolutely it did. It had all the brawling I expected, all the firing your history line and, you know, I'm on my break when he's on the woman stuff going on, all that going on. Yes, lived up to all my expectations. The Butch Cassidy and Sundance thing going on with Sam Elliott and Patrick Swayze, absolutely it lived up to that, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Ben Gazzara to be such a great bad guy or to be the bad guy completely. I was like, oh my God, Ben Gazzara is the bad guy. That was actually interesting. Anyway.
Yeah.
What rating do you give this movie, Anthony?
Well, I think, yes to all the things you said. Like, by rights, looking at this as a film, it should be a 5 or a 6, generously.
Yeah, as a film.
As a movie. But it's not a movie, it's an experience. It's fucking Roadhouse. You know what I fucking mean?
Yeah.
It's a cult movie, very deservedly so, and I think it's a cheesy story and all that. But damn, it does everything right in a movie like this. It's got good fights, great action. And I think, honestly, the casting and the acting sends this over, you know, and makes this the movie it is. Because you got Patrick Swayze, right? You got fucking Sam Elliott. You got Ben Gazzara here. This is like...
It's so much fun, this movie, though.
Yeah, they are propping this
like I said, my
up.
inner redneck loves this movie.
Oh, yeah. It deserves everything. And I understand why some people may not like this movie, but how could you not turn your brain off and sit down and be like, okay, all right, this is that movie.
The one-liners are silly, but I laugh on every one of them. I giggle on every one of them. That's not a bad thing.
It's a lot of cheesy fun, and
I love bad one-liners. This side of Tango and Cash, you know.
Yeah. And just like Tango and Cash, the whole is more than the sum of the parts. It's better in Tango and Cash, I think, even.
I do. I agree.
That has the same cheesiness, but just this is even like more awesome. So it should get a 5 or a 6, but just being freaking Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
It gets an 8 or a 9 out of me, 8.5. There's only one Roadhouse, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of movies like this, but there's only one Roadhouse. So
I agree. The guy that plays Jimmy, they asked him like what he thought about them remaking Roadhouse, and he said, "Will this one last this long? You know, will it last 39 years?" I think that was what he said, or whatever the amount of time was. I'm getting probably the time wrong, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot my rating thing. 8.5 out of 10. Patrick Swayze mullets. Patrick Swayze's mullet gets a few hits in this movie.
His hair looks great in this movie, I have to say.
His mullet kicks enough ass too. So anyway, that's been our discussion of Roadhouse. Jordan, thank you so much for talking to me about Roadhouse.
It was great talking to you about Roadhouse.
Can't believe you hadn't seen it, man. That's cool.
Just not all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this. And if you have enjoyed this, maybe check out some of our other episodes. I just want to say we appreciate every single person listening. Thank you for continuing to support this podcast. We appreciate it. And if there's, I don't know, some movie you want us to talk about, reach out and tell us. Maybe we'll consider it. So if you like this, tell your friends. Feel free to rate us. Mash the good buttons. And we'll see you next time talking about some other movie, Jordan. Maybe without as many throats being ripped out.
Oh, yeah. We can only hope.
Broken beer bottles?
Maybe, but you never know.
You never know, hopefully. All right, Jordan, this has been...
The Robots Took My Podcast. And by the way, if somebody ever calls you a cocksucker, just be nice. I want you to be nice. Okay? Be nice.
And now a word from our sponsor. This week on Roadhouse Rescue, Dalton gets more than he bargained for when he takes on the Diamondback Bar outside of Tucson.
They're storing raw meat above the onions. There's a rat's nest in the pantry. The nacho cheese is watered down with mustard, and half the staff is selling coke. The other half is skimming off the top. But it's nothing I haven't seen before.
Dalton, you wanted to see me?
Listen to me, you gotta keep those keg lines clean and scratch those empty bottles.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
Stick to the system.
You know who my dad is?
You're just sucking up to Dalton, bitch.
Bitch? You tried to bring him breakfast, you hussy.
Dalton, I hired you to clean up my bar, not to clean out my customers.
And an old friend stops by to lend a hand.
I heard this snake's got some bite, little brother. Heard you got some rough customers. Problem with your nacho machine.
And sparks fly when Dalton starts dating the town dentist.
Do you always carry your x-rays around with you?
Makes it easier. I'm Dalton. I take a run down Roadhouse, turn them into a cash cow. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Just remember the 3 rules of roadhousing. Always expect the unexpected. Take trouble outside. Most important, be nice. That's the hard part.
Before...
We've had 3 murders in the parking lot this month, Dalton.
And after.
Wow, Dalton. Axe throwing, virtual golf. I can't believe this is the same place.
On Roadhouse Rescue. All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.